I do think, man, the more we hear, and let's use this to move it forward a little bit. Randy Clements, I can see why the more we hear about him, that Kendall Briles was like, that's my guy. Like I'm really not going to South Carolina without my guy. And along the same lines, I think we're also kind of seeing why Shane Beamer was like, Stan Drayton is my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there is, and you need all types of coaches. You don't need all veteran coaches. Like, you need some young guys. You need that young energy a lot of times that comes. I think you need a balance on your staff. You really do. But with Clements, I think there's just a veteran, not even mindset in that he's just stuck in his ways, but I think there's a veteran confidence there from what you hear, in that I've got an answer for things. Like I know how we're going to attack this. I know how we're going to respond to that, depending on what fronts the defense is showing us. And I really think there's a great dynamic there with him and Jason Smith. And you've got a little bit of the veteran, a little bit understated at times. Like, I'm just going to show you how to do it, and you're going to do it because I know what I'm talking about. And then you have Jason Smith, who has the resume and the pedigree and all those things, man, was a number 2 overall pick, played under Clements, trusts him completely, but has a little bit of that just younger guy edge, kind of that just energy, a little bit like, it's not good cop, bad cop from what we've heard. It's more just a very interesting dynamic, Chris.
Oh man, there you go. Yeah, the thing about that duo is Jason Smith, whether it's in recruiting or when you're reinforcing things in film and on the practice field, he can say, I was the number 2 pick in the draft behind Matt Stafford. I was coached by this guy standing beside me, playing in the offense that the guy in the next door was running, right? And so that gives you some cachet. Clements has been doing it for so long in this system, not his entire career, right? But once he hooked up with Art Briles and then Kendall, like, he's been doing it in this system, and the system has evolved and it changes year to year based on personnel. But it's very much this, here is what we do, here is what we have done. Now, what does that mean, like, in the short term? Well, we're going to find out this year. I think this offensive line room for South Carolina still has plenty of questions, right? You are in year 1 of kind of rebuilding that offensive line room. You've done that with a new scheme, with a new coach, a new room. You've done it with a lot of new personnel mixed in with some returners. And it's going to take some time, I think, to be fully what you want to be, and what you have to do in year 1 is make some improvements. This isn't going to be, I don't think, the best offensive line in the SEC by the time it's all said and done, but you hope that the combination of all those factors, the personnel, the coaching, the new voices, the new scheme, will help you get better. You also have a question of, Jacarius Peak, right? We all know his health. You mentioned it earlier. That's another big, piece of this puzzle. But you do get the sense, like, just talking to people, that all of those factors have been good for the offensive line and just the offense and this team in general. It doesn't mean, boom, all of a sudden you go from worst to first, because South Carolina's offensive line last year and the offense generally was, one of the worst in the league, one of the worst in the country in certain metrics. It's a big leap to go to becoming, dominant, or whatever people want to say. But can you improve? That's the key. So I think, you hear some positives in terms of just them being in good hands there. I think something as simple, Wes, as having the O-line coach and the OC having a great working relationship, and the offensive line coach knowing the offense like the back of his hand, is a positive too. We'll see what it means for results, but I think it's a good foundation, to lay for that.